it out.
The Quark Tactical 2A-x. So this flashlight is very similar to the Fenix Ld22. If you can tell which one is the Ld22, it's the one right here, this one. And this one here is the Quark. And of these two lights, what makes them different, besides a couple of features on the outside, is primarily the Quark light can save the mode you want, so when you turn it on, it'll always be that. And basically there's two options, two settings you can program by holding the button down and doing this kind of crazy process that you just look in the instruction manual, it'll tell you how. I don't remember it. But basically when it's tightened all the way, I have it set for always to do strobe. Has a little silent push or click if you want. When I loosen it just slightly, see, just slightly, it'll go to high beam. Now, if this was, now that I know that, if this was for me to be a tactical defense light, then I would have the loose setting where it's after it not being completely tight right here to anywhere around here. I would have that be the strobe. Being that they use two AA batteries, the lumens on both are obviously very powerful and capable of, they have a good throw. I mean, if you're on a hike, you can at least see about 50, 70 feet ahead of you. And overall too, if you were to defend yourself at close range, most people who, when I've been seeing this for a couple months now, and when I was in Alaska, I was using it. Most people, when they encounter it at a close range, it blinds them. They find it very, very extreme for people who aren't accustomed to tactical flashlights. So the construction here, what makes it different than the Fenix Ld22 is it has a permanent clip. If you guys watch my comparison of the Preon light, that Preon clip would bend out. And the Fenix Ld22 was superior because when it would bend to a certain point, the clip would come off. Or not, at least it had a point where it would flex and slightly shift rather than completely bend out. This one, just ever so slightly thicker and perhaps a better quality metal. This clip is very strong. And carrying them in the same pants and doing the same activities I always do, using this in the shop, this pocket clip has not bent out. So I would say that now if you look at the construction for if this is supposed to be a tactical light, this pocket clip is more durable than the Fenix Ld22. So I would say it's more for real use if you are intending to have this on you in some kind of intense situation. And the coating does seem to be superior to the Fenix Ld22. The Fenix Ld22 has a very smooth coating that, if you can see, seems to be it kind of soaks up hand oils, and you can see the pocket clip kind of fades and wears. It's almost like a bluing. But here on the Quark, this coating is a little bit more, almost feels like a powder DLC coat. It seems more durable so far in my experience, but also seems to provide more traction, especially right here in this section. I would say overall, between here on the Fenix Ld22, this traction, this little kind of pattern right here, doesn't really offer much traction. I can feel my thumb sliding over it. But this one here, actually, you can hear it, provides really good resistance. The twist feature, like on some of those lights where when you just bump it, from here to just there, the light will go off. A lot of flashlights, kind of have that fault. So it's in your pocket, so let's say you want to defend yourself or something, and you pull it out, but because it twisted slightly in your pocket, your flashlight isn't working. With this one, because of the two program modes, again, that's kind of the better feature of this. Because I think here on the Ld22, if you twist it slightly, it goes off, you see? Here it is, you have it on, and let's say, it's in your pocket or something, I have it set on, that's the high mode, and it just twists ever so slightly. I mean, just barely. And now your flashlight's not even on. You pull it out, and you're having, you're like, what happened? You just have to turn it ever so slightly, and it's back on. And I think that is a flaw of this type of any kind of flashlight, where they should have it made so that just a slight I say, untightening of the battery cap won't turn the flashlight off. And that's what makes this construction of this Quark so much superior, because I have strobe set on when it's fully tightened and high when it's loosened a little bit. And you can loosen it and loosen it, you see? You have a lot of room to keep loosening it and it'll still stay on high. So in terms of the design and the construction, that area is done right. And when it comes to tactical, what now I know what I should do is actually I should have the loose right here, all that be the strobe. So when I pull it out, it'll guaranteed always be in the strobe mode. And then if I want to tighten it, I can go to a high beam. It doesn't have the little safety kind of, that little inset right there, that kind of these two edges raise up to kind of hide the button from being bumped. That's a feature that I wish they did. A missed opportunity here on Quark's part. You know, the button is fully exposed at the top. So far I haven't any problems with accidentally activating it, but you know, it is just kind of out there as opposed to this, and I think this was superior overall in conception. I think this design makes more sense. So performance and utility category, I find this flashlight very second nature. I like it more than most lights because the texture is simple. You know, the shape of it doesn't have too much crazy stuff going on. It feels comfortable in hand. The texture does work. The pot clip's super strong. The coating has a nice texture to it and also is durable. It's comfortable in pocket. Overall, the performance in terms of that is great. As terms of actual light intensity, you know, when you're on a hike, if you're at nighttime, it'll go about a good 50, 70 feet. You'll be able to see somewhere between those two. And when it comes to close, obviously, when you're in close working spaces, or maybe just digging through your car, this definitely is powerful enough. But here's where then it makes this kind of really, it takes a step back and loses something. If you see, the face isn't pronged. I mean, it's just a smooth face. If anyone's ever seen a Nebo, little miniature $10 flashlight, these flashlights here are extremely impact resistant. You can see here the face, I mean, it is literally, I mean, that looks mean. I mean, it warns you that it's sharp, and it definitely has that scary, aggressive look to it. And those are sharp. I mean, sharp enough to, okay, here on the back wall. So it's enough to cut paper. And I would say that is done right. This being a tactical flashlight, then you would think you would have a pronged face. So to me, that makes this light, like, I don't understand it. It did everything else right. You know, it's the clip is stronger. It doesn't ever have to worry about bending or coming off. It doesn't have. It has better traction, better coating. It has the program modes, so you can save it and always have it activated onto a higher strobe, so you can use it as a self-defense EDC. But then it takes a hit for not having the pronged face. Deployment, obviously deployment's simple. It's nothing complex. Same as the Fenix. You know, you use it. You can hold it halfway to make it, you know, activate without actually having to click it and make that noise. For people who aren't accustomed to this level of lumen, definitely I would say that this is to most people, it blinds them. So I would say in a close range situation, or within a good 25 feet realistically, this light will help aid you in not having someone be able to look at you directly. Really, if Quark is watching, all I want is prong face right here. Just make it aggressive, make it, you know, it's if I hit somebody, it'll do the damage, and then perhaps consider having that copying Fenix, just copy Fenix, they did it right. Or at least, you know, make it look similar and have this button a little bit protected from being hit by accident in your pack. And it's strong. The last thing is, I'm going to test this. I did buy 2 of these lights. So it's a shame that I'm going to have to do this to this flashlight, but it is something I want to know. And that's the impact resistance. I've shown videos of the Fenix Ld22 shutting off, and we've seen some of the other flashlight reviews I've had, Jet Beam, you know, them fail. So far, the most impact resistant flashlight has been the Nebo, little $10 light. Here we have this Quark, and some people might say, like, why do you need to test the impact resistance of a flashlight? If you guys ever watched that movie, The Impossible, it's a really great movie. For those who are not familiar with the movie, it's based on a true story. There was a family that was on vacation in Thailand, and they got hit by the tsunami. I think it was in like 2000, Well, 2008, 2006, something like that. Don't quote me on that. Basically, it's a true story account of them getting through the tsunami. And of course, the father and two sons were separated from the mother and the oldest son. And at night, the father went to go searching. He went searching for his wife and kid. And he stepped on something, fell, and the flashlight hit the ground and shut off. You might think about this. The impact resistance of a flashlight is very important. Maybe if you are someone who is using this in a more extreme situation, let's say for example you're running, you trip and you fall. Let's say you're fighting someone, they knock out your hand and it hits the wall. You need to know that this light, especially a tactical flashlight, I want to know that it's going to be durable and survive and still function. Basically, I'm going to throw it on the concrete just a couple times, see if it still works, which I'm hoping it does because this thing isn't that cheap. But I do have two, because obviously this one here is the test. And if this one passes the test, then I know this is a good light. The other one I'm just going to keep and save my bug out bag. So here we go. Okay, here you go, Quark. Now I'm actually going to throw this at the ground. That's one. Now that's what it did to the... I mean, look at the damage. That is some tough damage. And the face shattered. So you can see how it handled one impact. That part bent, and I can hear the glass or the plastic, whatever it is, it broke. So there we go. Not even more than one impact and the thing's busted. Does the light still work? Yeah, you can see little flakes of plastic. It's not glass, it's plastic. Plastic coming off. But hey, at least my light works. It handled the impact. Does it still go to strobe? Yeah. But that didn't take that one so good. I'm telling you again, maybe I'll buy more of these and make a video of this. But I can show this. I mean, this one here is beat up too. And this flashlight, this little $10 flashlight, you can literally throw onto the concrete at least 5-8 times and it just takes it. So when it comes to that, this thing is done really well. No shattering, no nothing. I didn't expect it to shatter because I've dropped my Fenix Ld22 and it never broke. Let's try again. Let's see just what happens if I throw it again. Maybe at least see if the light will work. Maybe we already know that shattered, but okay, now what we got is it bent up here. It's no longer a circle, if you can tell. I can see here in person the impact has bent the entire casing, and obviously it didn't take the impact well, and that's maybe perhaps why it shattered. I guess this material they're using here is just, it seems kind of brittle. I mean, look at what an impact does to it. So this definitely affects my opinion of this light. So now that we are at this point towards the end of the review, I have to say I don't really recommend it then, maybe. I mean, not really. No, I don't. The mode features, awesome. Does it still work? Yep. It's non-strobe because it loosened a little bit, but let's tighten it up again. Still working. That part, okay, Quark did a good job. The casing though, it needs reinforcement up here. It doesn't really matter to me if it's reinforced down here, but definitely needs reinforcement up here, and a very impact resistant lens and prongs. So as it is, knowing that, I mean, I didn't throw it that hard, and I'm throwing it from just like a height of like 4 feet, and I could imagine if I was hiking and I dropped this onto a rock, it would shatter, and that would not be the time I want to know that and see that and learn that fact. So for that being the case, as a tactical flashlight, obviously it's just, I would say this is a kind of a fail. Let the spam and hate come, but it's quite an epic fail actually. I mean, you would expect that a tactical light wouldn't shatter on you at the face, because I'm telling you, I'll do the video of this one. This thing is a tank. $10 little tank. Too bad it doesn't do more. Fenix Ld22, well, this is my shop light, and I love this thing, but you know what? Let's just do it so we know. Here, I'll throw it directly on its face. Maybe again. And again. You see, it's receiving impacts on the face. I mean, it already has before. I mean, this not even prongs anymore. But it didn't shatter. Does it work? Nice. Look at that. Still scrolls, thankfully. You can see actually here it hit the corner, and that's how it received that damage. So the casing actually on the Fenix Ld22 is superior than this Quark. So take that for what it is. I might consider now using the Ld22 back as my tactical light. I mean, sure, I can't start with the strobe always, but you know, high beam's pretty effective in terms of flashing in someone's eyes. But just the fact that it's more durable, this Quark, that was a disappointment. I was hoping, I had high hopes for this flashlight, but now that as it is, I'm not going to modify the face. There's just no point. It can't handle impacts. So, thank you, and look for the Nebo tactical flashlight. I'll be reviewing this little miniature light. I love this little thing actually. It's very good. I wish it was more bright, but we'll get to that in the review. Thank you for watching. I wanted you guys to see this. Remember here, the left one, the Quark. I was telling you it bent out of shape when it impacted the front. It no longer is a perfect circle. It basically got bent and it shattered. The Ld22 is also out of shape. You can see it's no longer a perfect circle either. I think you can kind of tell where it's poking out, like right near my thumb. It's kind of poking out right here on the where you can see all the damage on the towards here. You can see how it's pushed it in. But it didn't shatter. So overall, the Fenix Ld22 is superior quality for sure.